Hello, Dharmendra sir.
Yeah, how are you?
Hey, Dharmraj, good evening. Good
Yeah,
evening.
good to see you. Oh, virtually we're seeing each other. That's a good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, you're the exact persona of a design thinking professional.
thank you for that
You
compliment.
know, I see the sticky notepads on your right hand side.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what we do in design thinking workshops.
that's
Yeah,
good to see you.
and your shirt is fantastic. It's a very brilliant
Yeah, it's much more beach.
beach. Yeah, yeah.
It's not office wear at all.
No, no, absolutely.
No, it's an evening show, so we
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't have to be in casual, so it's okay.
yeah,
I think I should also go and change into a batik.
that would be good.
Friday evening.
No, because as it is in Indonesia, on Fridays
Yeah.
we wear batik.
Oh, yeah,
So
Oh,
yeah, we wear batik. Batik is official on Fridays.
Mhm. No, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's a very good way of increasing cultural consumption.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So how often do you do this, Madhura, and with the AIFMP? Is it every month or is it
Every day.
every day almost.
every day? Okay, that is
Our institute is once a week.
okay.
Lakshmi Priya madam does it again once a week.
Okay,
Then
Amalji, I think you can make a record in Guinness Book also for hosting maximum number of technical seminars. I'm sure you must be on that way only, I believe.
आपका गोल भाई आशीर्वाद राय भी हो जाना है, चिंता न करो.
सर आशीर्वाद हमको छोटे
hi, Dr. Lalit.
is
Good
here.
evening, Madhura. Good
Yeah,
evening,
Good evening.
good evening, Mr. Kamal Mohan,
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
and good evening, Govind Bhargava sir and Dharam sir.
Good evening.
Hi,
good
this is
evening.
Lalit. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, sir. I think Kaduskar sir has also joined.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thankful to Suhas sir and Dharam sir and Lalit sir as well. They reshared my LinkedIn
Yes.
post
Yeah.
that I've shared. So I know like it has reached many people. So yeah, looking forward to it.
So friends, it is 6:30 and we are going to start now. It is our tradition to start in time so that we can finish in time. That's better. So friends, taking in consideration the acute situation which is today during pandemic and even post-COVID also, All India Federation of Master Printers decided to organize virtual meetings to guide the printers about recent developments and how to manage the business during and after COVID or lockdowns. What are the options other than ink on paper, and what is the secret of survival? I will not say success, I will say survival now for the small and micro printers. Today it will be 9th edition of series of these virtual meetings. So once again, I would like to welcome you to this 9th edition of the series of virtual meetings on different technical and other business related subjects. I'm truly feeling obliged with your presence during this tough time. Why it is tough? Because nowadays working is open and this is a working day today. And you are here. I'm thankful to you. Business is just starting keeping the shape up now after lockdown. This virtual meeting is being organized by All India Federation of Master Printers in association with Pune Vidyarthi Grace College of Engineering and Technology and GK Pate Vani Institute of Management. I'm thankful to the management of PVG for supporting the cause of the printers and giving their complete cooperation in organizing today's virtual meeting. Committed for the growth and development of the printing and packaging sector, All India Federation of Master Printers is the largest printers association in the world. On behalf of AIFMP, I once again would like to welcome you for participating in this virtual meeting. All India Federation of Master Printers, popularly known as AIFMP, is the apex body of 250,000 printing companies of India. Established in 1953, AIFMP draws its strength from various regional associations spread across the country. AIFMP is committed for the growth and development of printing and packaging sector. AIFMP sports participate in and organize a number of regional, national, and international technical seminars like this for educating the printers about global trends and technologies. Printing Times is our official journal, which is published alternate month, it's a bi-monthly. National Award for Excellence in Printing, which is popularly known as NAEP, is organized by the AIFMP to motivate and recognize the talented printers. The international trade show PAMEX is the prime event, which is organized every alternate year to keep printers abreast with the technological development taking place globally. The next PAMEX is scheduled to be held in April 2022. I'm thankful to my friend Govind Bhargavaji for accepting our request to be the chief guest and to inaugurate today's meeting. Govind Bhai is a technocrat and the former president of AIFMP. His presence is not only an honor for us, but we now have the chance, or say rare chance, to learn from his experience being a design thinking, which is today's topic, is an interactive process in which we seek to understand the user challenges and expectations and redefine problems in attempt to identify alternative plans and solutions that might not be instantly apparent or our initial level of understanding. At the same time, design thinking provides a solution-based approach to solving the problems. It is a thinking process, and it is always thinking the working as well as collection of hand-on methods. Design thinking revolves around a deep interest in developing and understanding of people for whom we are designing the product or services. Even as a printer, if we are providing services, so for whom we are providing the services, we have to see this thing that comes under this design sector. It helps us to observe and develop understanding with the target user. Target user means your customer in this case. Design thinking helps us in process of questioning. What is questioning? Questioning the problem, questioning the experience, questioning the expectations, and questioning the implications. Design thinking is extremely useful in tackling problems that are ill-defined or unknown by the reframing the problem in human-centric way, creating many ideas in brainstorming session and adopting a hand-on approach in prototyping or testing. Design thinking also involves ongoing experimentation, sketching, prototyping, testing, and trying out concepts and ideas. So that is another way we can say it is just like a planning, and your success lies in the planning. Today we have with us eminent and experienced speakers who are experts in this line. They will guide us the importance of design thinking in our business. Design thinking in printing press. I mean, your own business, your own printing and packaging house. I'm thankful to Mr. Suhash Kulkarni, Dr. Lalit Katpalia, and Mr. Dharam Mentor for their time and providing us the opportunity to enhance our knowledge about the subject and to understand its importance in our business. On the behalf of AIFMP, I'm grateful to PVG for providing the services of most of their talented faculty for today's meeting. I'm thankful to these phenomenal ladies Professor Shrikala Kande, who is coordinating the meeting, and Professor Mudra P. Mahajan, who was kind enough to accept our request for moderating today's meeting. I'm also thankful to our friend Mr. Tirthraj Joshi, Honorary Joint Secretary, All India Federation of Master Printers, for sparing his valuable time on our request for proposing the vote of thanks today. Without any further delay, I will like to invite Professor Dr. Mudra Mahajan, who is ME in printing and is the head of department in printing engineering at Pune Vidyarthi Grace College of Engineering and Technology. She is recipient of Best Teacher Award by late V.G. Joshi Trust, and she has published 3 papers in international journals. Dr. Mahajan also guided 4 ME candidates, and 2 candidates are in process. Besides the best teachers, she also has the experience of working in the print industry. She has been associating us in almost all the meetings, and not only these webinars, but in the Print Olympiad also, which is our annual feature for the students in print. She has been cooperating in that. Thank you very much, Madam Mahajan, for your contributions. And now over to you for conducting today's proceeding. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and good evening, all. Yeah. Honorable Chief Guest of today's function, Mr. Govind Bhargavji, past President of AIFMP, President of All India Federation of Master Printers, Mr. Kamalji Chopra, Shri Sunil Redekar, sir, Chairman of PVG and Director COET and GK Patewani Institute of Management, Professor R.G. Kaduskar, sir, Director of PVG, COET and GK Patewani Institute of Management, Dr. Tarambai, sir, Principal in charge of our institute, Mr. Tirthraj Joshi, sir, Honorable Joint Secretary of All India Federation of Master Printers, esteemed panelists of our webinar, various members of All India Federation of Master Printers, esteemed participants, and dear students. It has always been a privilege of our institute, PVG's College of Engineering and Technology and GK Patewani Institute of Management, to be a part of the series of webinars organized in association with All India Federation of Master Printers. It's a great platform to connect with experts from academics and industry, and with precious moments to learn from their expertise. Our institute was established in the year 1985 by the then Honorable Director, late Dr. Prabha Kulkarni, sir, better known that time as College of Printing Engineering and Graphic Communication. Then later grew as College of Engineering and Technology with the addition of 5 more engineering streams. The Department of Printing Technology also has a master's and a PhD program. It has indeed been a great journey from 4-color separation in the late 90s to the 7-color printing by ECG today, and with many more such fascinating theories and technologies in future. Today's webinar is one such, which will talk about innovativeness. That should be a culture in an organization. We will see how the process of design thinking can give a human-centered approach to innovation. Also, through this webinar, we will understand what is disruptive innovation and what it means for the print or packaging industry. Today's speakers are not just experts theoretically, but shall also back their concepts with some live case studies, which may be easier for many printers and press owners to relate and grow. On this occasion, we have with us our director and principal in charge. I request our principal in charge, Dr. Tarambai, sir, to welcome the dignitaries, speakers, and participants for the webinar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madhura. I am happy that All India Federation of Masters Printer, they have given once again an opportunity to organize this webinar on design thinking. I am happy that All India Federation of Masters Printer, they are always ahead to bridge the gap between industry and institute and working for the upcoming students in this field. So they have shown a faith on us, and our college has accepted this responsibility of organization of this webinar. I express my gratitude towards the all office bearers of All India Federation of Masters Printer, today's chief guest Govind Bhargavji, for accepting this type of invitation. I hope this will enlighten the student, faculty, industrialist mind from designing aspect in packaging industry. So with this, I conclude, express my best wishes for successful of this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice motivation. I now request our Honorable Director, Kaduskar sir, to address the gathering on this occasion. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, madam. Good evening, all. Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Govind Bhargavji, President of All India Federation of Master Printer, respected Shri Kamalji Chopra, all other dignitaries, members from printing fraternity, eminent speakers of today's webinar, the student participants and faculty colleagues from printing engineering department of our college. It gives me an immense pleasure to be a part of this webinar. As a director of Pune Vidyarthigara, I am very happy for the faculty team of Pune Vidyarthigara's printing engineering department for organizing and conducting this one of the third webinar out of all these 9 webinars, as Kamalji Chopra has mentioned in the earlier talk. And these webinars are on the new trend technologies in printing field. Of course, it was possible for us to organize such type of webinars because of a strong and continuous support from All India Federation of Master Printers and overwhelming response from all the participants in printing field. I am sure that today's topic of webinar will showcase yet another new technology trend in printing field. Knowing the theme of today's webinar, my understanding is that it is an outburst of the concept disruptive technology originated from Harvard Business School in the year 1995-96. It's sure the present successful business leaders and entrepreneurs definitely followed this disruptive technology by thinking differently and used it in their operations, product, by sensing the market in a very smart manner. Today, the eminent speakers, those who are been sharing their experiences, will make us aware to think differently. My best wishes to this webinar and heartiest congratulations to team of printing engine department and especially the leader from the front, Professor Mrs. Madhura Mahajan. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shrikala madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As rightly mentioned by you, I think the strong support from All India Federation of Master Printers has been the key part, and it is only because of them that we are able to get this kind of exposure. Thank you very much, sir, for being present today and for gracing this occasion. Now, moving ahead, let me introduce to you today's chief guest, Shri Govind Bhargavji. It is indeed an honor and privilege to have Mr. Bhargav with us today as the chief guest. Sir is the Chief Technical Executive at Solar Press, Kanpur. Sir is a printing technologist from Northern Regional Institute of Printing Technology, Allahabad, and as well as completed his diploma, that is in quality printing, from Germany. He comes from a family of renowned printers from Uttar Pradesh with a legacy of 116 years in the print business, as well as a family of philanthropists in the city, and they run a large charitable trust in the city as well. On the social front, Sir is a Freemason in Masonic Lodge since 1998 and a past master in 2002, plus a Rotarian, and has also been a panel member for upgradation of syllabus in NRIPT, Allahabad. Sir has also served as a GC member at the AIFMP since 1994 and has held many key posts of co-chairman and chairman of various committees. Also has taken up many responsibilities as office bearer of AIFMP. He has worked as the Vice President North in 2011 and 12, and as a president in 2012 and 13. His press, Solar Press, has won many accolades and awards, especially the national awards by AIFMP, and it is a renowned firm among the star printers of India. So, with this background and a very humble person and a very down-to-earth person, it is really an honor to have you with us today, sir. We would really look forward. We really look forward to your kind words and motivation for this evening. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam, for such a lovely, elaborate introduction. Professor Kamal Chopra, President, All India Federation of Master Printers, Dr. Manoj Tambarle, Professor Kaduskar, Sri Suhash Kulkarni, Dr. Lalit Katpalia, Dr. Dharam Minter, Professor Dr. Madhura Mahajan, Professor Sri Kala Kanade, Sri Tirath Raj Joshi, other members of All India Federation, and luminaries of printing industry and students. It's been an honor and privilege to be here today among you all as a chief guest here. And I thank All India Federation and PVG for that. So today's topic of webinar, Design Thinking, Grow an Innovative Culture. See, what I believe is a few years back, or say maybe about 30, 40 years back, it was skill which was important. For good printing, whatever may be the design, that's apart. But what was being printed well depended on the skill of the maybe operator, machine, press owner, so many people were involved. Nowadays, with the high technology, things can be printed across the world with the same quality. Because of digital printing, high quality modern machines, what Parle biscuit wrapper may be printed in hundreds of units across the country is all same, because the machines are so good. So now comes in the matter what stands out. So standing out is only possible if you have a good design. I remember when we had graduated from our printing college about 38 years back, there was a friend from the same institute who came from a very small town in UP. So he bought at that time one single color dominant, brand new. And before going to any customer to get jobs, he was the first one in his family to go into printing business. What he would do is when he would go to a customer, he would collect his box or label or whatever from the market. And instead of going empty-handed and asking for business, he would take a very well-designed box or label or whatever, so that the customer was really impressed in first meeting. I would say to the extent he would go even to Delhi to get a good design made. So now with the fierce competition all over and not very difficult to produce good quality, I mean, it would be, I would say with the new technologies, you have to do something really bad to print something of poor quality. So design plays a major role. It has to be just a good design, something out of the box. It has to be innovative, different, and out of curiosity only one can create a good design. The ideas have to be original. One has to get out of the comfort zone, defy the status quo, and just think something different. That is the only something which can make you above others. So for all that, there will be failures and rejections. There might be people who would say this is not practical. Some people will laugh. All these things are part of the package. So, but one has to be very consistent and pursue a good, put all his effort in good design making. The teamwork has to be there. The persons have to be concerned, have to discuss new design, new concepts with their teams, and evolve new ideas. Sharing new ideas with the team will definitely kind of give a multiple improvement, kind of improvement. And then one has to be aware of the latest tools available to do all that. So all these things one will have to do to stand out, because with the fierce competition in each and every aspect of life, not only printing, or it may be any business or any profession, one has to stand out. And in printing, there's hardly anything left except of a good design which can make you stand out. And of course, conversion and bringing it out in a form usable to the customer is part of the deal. But that happens. So with these things, I would like to say, and one more thing I would like to add is, so those people who are involved in designing have to also take breaks, naps. They have to think. Whenever they are on the job, they have to be fully conscious, concentrate, and they have to take off also. That is also very important for a person who's creative. So with those words, and I would not like to keep all of you waiting for the eminent speakers who are there, I give my best wishes for this webinar, and once again thank All India Federation, Professor Kamal Chopra and faculty, and of course PVG Pune for inviting me here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think what you have said rightly is that today technology, all the tools are available, but using them in the right way, or utilizing them to the best of its availability is also necessary. And I guess use of these tools in the right way, use of technology in the right way by the printers and the converters is what something in today's webinar probably we would get to learn and know more. Thank you, sir, for joining and sharing your kind words.
Thank you.
Yeah, so now we move on to our the core part of the webinar, the technical part. So the flow of the webinar shall be as follows. We have three panelists, Mr. Dharam, Dr. Lalit, and Mr. Suhas. So Mr. Dharam shall be speaking about concepts of design thinking and shall focus upon an important aspect. A good design is good business. Of course, he will back up all these with examples. Then our second speaker, Dr. Lalit, shall speak about disruptive innovation and how it holds significance to our industry. And then our third speaker, Mr. Suhas, shall be covering design thinking with a focus on ideation, and again backed up with case studies. So moving ahead, I now request Shrikala to take over and introduce our first speaker.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. It is my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Dharam Mentor to all of you. As you can see on the slide, Mr. Dharam Mentor, he is mentor at a Design Horse. He is brand strategist, design director, mentor, educator, a master's in branding from University of the Arts College London, founder of a visual research lab in London as well. So about Mr. Dharam, so he is a firm believer and advocates the good design thinking is a good business. Regrettably, the most people, the word design equals drawing, painting, aesthetics, styling, etc. Regrettably, few able to associate the correct definition design equals to the problem solving process as well. The good design thinking approach encompasses several tools that enable us to arrive at adequate solutions. The problem can be of any nature, from structural design to cultural appropriation, style segmentation to meaningful communication, or corporate branding to product service branding. What drives him in his professional life is practicality, providing how good designing thinking translates into good business to entrepreneurs, business owners, and startups. He has acquired his master's in branding degree from the University of Arts London and is also an alumnus of the prestigious London College of Communication. So, Dharam sir, now I would like to request you to please take over the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. So you guys can see the screen, I believe. So first of all, thank you. It's my heartfelt gratitude for allowing me to share my thoughts, and obviously to All India Federation of Master Printer and members of the Federation and participants and my colleagues. I'm really grateful and thankful for your invitation. So, okay, today's topic, as you already beautifully introduced, design thinking. We look at the nitty-gritties of this particular topic, how design thinking helps us to grow innovative culture in our organization. That is the overall concept which I will be kind of cover, and I will give some examples, and it will just opens up what design thinking is all about, how we can use it in our organization. So first thing first, I kind of, I'm a advocate of good design thinking is a good business. So I kind of use this, you may call it as a mantra to kind of talk to my clients, and I do teach in colleges, so I kind of propose this particular mantra, like how they can inculcate this, and it really helps them to narrate their story much better and show the value. So let me kind of go in a detail of each part of it, because that lead into our main concept, what is design thinking and how it manifests. So I don't need to talk much about what is good business. We all know, obviously, being successful and growing our business, and of course, making profit is all about corresponds to good design. And let's look at what is good design. And again, we almost intuitively understand what is good design. But if you ask a brand manager what is good design, he might say which communicates brand value. Okay, for a consumer might say that if it attracts me, I consider it as a good design. Some might say that a consumer should love my brand so that I can sell more of my brand. So good design has got this goodness aspect around the design. What is it bringing to, or how it is enhancing the business aspect. So the next thing, which is the topic of the day, design thinking. In simply putting, design thinking is a term which is all about a method, is a thinking method, and it is approach, strategic approach, and a practical process. So why do we need this? It helps us to innovate new concepts and solutions. So again, so if I want to simplify it further, design thinking is an innovative process, and it's a tool also, you can call it. It has got a 5-stage process. So I'll just take you through each of these stages briefly. The first stage is the empathize. In this particular stage, you collect information about the problem, you empathize with the users, and so on and so forth. And the second stage, where you define, during the define stage, you put together all the information what you collected in your first stage. And the third stage wherein you ideate, you kind of start thinking about what could be the possible solution. And the fourth stage, which is prototyping, most of us who are in a printing, we know that prototyping play a huge critical role. And we also know that the fifth stage, which is like testing, in the sense, once we do a prototype, we do testing. Variety of testings are there. Like if you're a brand manager, you want to test your product to see that how consumer are getting attracted to it. If you are a product designer, you want to test it, the stability or many other stuff. As a printer, we want to do mock-up so that we'll come to know whether we're getting a right color or what the desired result is coming or not. So design thinking follows these 5-step process to arrive at 3 types of innovations. Like, why do we need to follow these steps? Because that leads to innovation. So these innovations are meant to fulfill the emerging demand. If you ask a simple question, why do you want to innovate? Because we want to fulfill the emerging demand. So we'll get into the second part of design thinking, which is kind of innovation side of it, in the sense, just look at that people desirability, the first aspect. Demand is coming from consumers' desirability, okay? Consumers' demand. They want a premium quality product. They want eco-friendly products. So there's a huge kind of demand is emerging. How do we cater that demand? By using technology to serve emerging demand. One side of it. Second, obviously, there is a business side to it, in the sense using budget and all those facilities to fulfill that emerging demand. So these combination of 3, now I'll just show you like how each of these combinations emerges the new type of innovation, a type of innovation. So for example, as I was earlier saying, demand coming from consumer, they want to have eco-friendly products, okay? They kind of worship eco-friendly product. If there is a brand who needs a packaging for their branding, which they stand for organic food, so that time it's better for them to go for green print technology or eco-friendly materials, inks and whatnot. So that supports come from your using technology to serve emerging demand of eco-friendliness. So now if you see like these combination of technology and people desirability is leading to process innovation. The second type of innovation is, we call it emotional innovation, wherein again, consumers' demand is really important, because the consumers are the one who is going to buy our product at the end of the day. So we study trends, we study consumer behavior, buying behavior pattern, and all of that, which helps us to understand what is their aspiration and how do we use our budget and a fund to kind of give solutions. So for example, consumer wants to enjoy having quality products or a premium product. So that time we kind of use technology or material to produce those kind of packaging product, if it's a packaging or a printing solutions. If consumers are demanding for a sustainable or a philosophy-centric kind of a thing, sustainable is a philosophy for the brand, that time we use sustainable-centric methodologies to innovate. The last one, which is functional innovation, we call. This is a little bit technological centric, wherein a new printing technology, advanced printing technology comes under this functional innovation part of it. So now I would love to give a few examples regarding process innovation and emotional innovation. So which will further clear what I'm trying to explain in this particular presentation. So the emotional innovation, as I was talking, there is a demand from a consumer side, and obviously, how do you make it viable? And here, Colgate wanted to introduce a premium product. So our design strategy was how to bring the premiumness. And we all know, who are in a design facility in the field, that how we achieve that premiumness using materials and inks, and in this case, I think we use a holographic matte pack to kind of bring that premiumness in this product. And the second example, when Ponds wanted to launch this Age Miracle product, which is a premium product, again, they used a lot of these special inks and new materials to bring that premiumness to their product, which is very much evident. Another example which I want to kind of give about process innovation, as I was talking about how technology helping us to achieve certain things. In this case, this particular brand believes in organic tea. So that is their brand value. So if that is their brand value, it needs to percolate into their touch points. In this case, it is packaging. So they wanted to have eco-friendly materials used for the packaging, even printing, minimal printing, and using eco-friendly inks and so on and so forth. So you can see clearly. This is one more interesting example for a process innovation. In this case, brand has this philosophy that they don't believe in use and throw boxes. They say, like, we want something recyclable or reusable. So, which you can see very evidently how that box using a minimal material, and there is the bag become your box become a bag which you can use after use also. I strongly believe that because we are in the golden age of innovation, because I will tell you that because we are moving from a 3 trillion economy to the 5 trillion economy. That is our trajectory. If you ask any economist, he will tell you that when countries kind of move from a level to the next level, there will be always a huge opportunity for a growth. There are several sectors grow rapidly, especially the food and beverages, to name few. And obviously, I think nowadays we all hear this immunity enhancing foods are a rage. And there are a lot of, especially FMCG is going to boom, and personal care products are, we all see that they are every day, they're like the more and more products are coming in. And what I saw in some of our trend analysis study, that there are new segments are coming, like plant-based meat, and there are superfood. All of them are going to increase more design, more printing, more packaging. In the sense, there is a surge of more of packaging design is going to be there. And why I'm saying this confidently, because I'm currently mentoring these 3 design organizations who does brand design and brand strategy for all these categories. Name it FMCG, some of my companies where I mentor, they have a plant-based meat product. They're working on this particular brand. So day in, day out, I see that whenever I interact with our clients, that the demand is going to increase rather than going down, because of the more categories are coming, the kind of spending, disposal income is increasing in Indian consumer, and so on and so forth. So let me give a very different side or another example of design thinking. Design thinking is a tool it used across various industries. So initially in the introduction, it was said that that's absolutely bang on, that it was initially meant for businesses to use design thinking. Later on, it became a part of design schools. Now it is a part of many industries. So even in a product innovation, how design thinking really yield the result, I will show you through this example. I'll just take one personal care sector. I will show, we all know this brand. There's a premium product, it's high quality, and at the same time, it's a costly product, means it's a high on price. So if I put it on this particular chart, low quality, high quality, high price, and low price. So my Dow fall under this particular zone or segment, which corresponds to a premium product and for to sell in a premium price for the people who can afford the premium product. So here they applied design thinking to see that there's a huge demand people are looking for. See, if you ask people, they say, oh, we want a quality product, but we want in a low price, affordable price. So that is where this new category emerged, affordable luxury. That's a very interesting twist, how affordable luxury, it came out from your design thinking. So how they kind of encash this is really interesting. So what they did, just they changed the format. Just changing the format, you see that how they become affordable luxury for a large number of people. So this is kind of opened up many things. It increased the business, it increased the whatever purchasing, the more people started buying it, more printing opportunities. It's everything more. So design thinking sometimes helps you to expand things, see a newer ways of approaching things, and expand your brand and presence and so on and so forth. So design thinking helps you in many levels. And again, as I was saying, I always see my interaction with clients, my interaction with the industry, it always gives me the signal that more opportunities for printing, more opportunities for new brands, more opportunities for us, like we are a brand builder, so more brands are coming into the market. So this is very much evident. It is just in front of your eyes. Once upon a time, just one product. Today, plenty of products. So that means more business. More product means more business. More products means more design. More products means more printing. Not only just printing on a paper, but printing on a different material like a plastic and whatnot. So the opportunity is expanding because of new formats, new products, new consumers are emerging because of economy is in a growing trajectory. So the more aspect is kind of going to be part and parcel of the coming decades. And similar thing, you just pick up any brand 10 years ago or 20 years ago, there are one or two of this MTR. Today, like you go to the shop, it's just everywhere. So it just clearly shows demand is not receding, but demand is going up, okay? And this is very interesting because I use this particular site to explain to a client that maybe a 16-year ago, it is just one logo, just a brand with one product. Today, they're just ruling the market. In the sense, a decade ago, there may not be today, what you think is just a single brand product, after a decade become a giant. So there are many more giants are going to come in coming decades in Indian market. And I strongly believe that coming days are a golden age for printing, but with one cautious note, that is only if you keep innovating. if you don't innovate, you perish. So innovation is what makes you to flourish. So that is where a design thinking helps you to innovate. So I have a 3 rules or a 3 suggestion how printing presses can inculcate design thinking innovation into their system. The first is focus on research and development. Okay, so for example, whether it's a small or a medium, don't worry about opening the whole department, but just see that looking at your capacity, you can just spend few hours a week just thinking about R&D. Okay, maybe you can have one-man R&D or a small place for R&D, but having this attitude to do R&D is very important, whether a small or a medium. So start inculcating this R&D attitude, bring this culture into your organization. That is going to yield a lot of good results. The second is experimenting with printing techniques. I really like what Govind Bhargav sir kind of pointed out in his speech, that one of his friend, like who used to carry a mock-up to kind of show it to his client. When the client sees the mock-up, he will just aghast, I wanted this results. So that means you do experiment in your printing shop and you carry those samples and show it to your prospective clients and say that these are the facilities we have, these are the things we're doing. That's the best way of keeping yourself into your, even though we're into the B2B business, to being in the mind of brand managers and brand owners. Okay, the third thing, again, today we are fortunate, everything is available on the internet. We're one click away for a knowledge. So kind of building this knowledge about the new things happening, consumers, what they're demanding, what they feel premium, what they feel like a niche, like what is that eco-friendly mindset sort of a thing. It really helps you to kind of organize your kind of R&D around these concepts as well. So finally, to sum it up, as I was earlier said, that there are 3 types of innovation comes out of your design thinking. One is a process innovation, which we looked at a good amount of examples, which is very much evident, wherein technology enables you to arrive at those innovations and meet the consumer's demand. And here in an emotional innovation, where consumer is demanding that he wants to need sophisticated, a minimalistic or whatnot. So you fulfill that being within the budget or using a budget or technology to make it. And the last one, which is the functional innovation, obviously there you will be using new printing technology, advanced printing. So that's it from my side. Thank you for inviting me to kind of share my thoughts. That's it from my side.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Wonderful presentation, Dharam sir. It just gives us where all we are heading or what all we can expect. So just to summarize a few of your points that you have said, like design thinking is a process. It's a 5-step process, which is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and testing. I'm sure we know all these things, but the sequence of it is something which we are unaware of, right? And this leads to 3 innovations to fulfill the current demand, such as a process innovation, emotional innovation, and functional innovation. Rightly said, golden age of innovation is here as economy is growing rapidly, especially in FMCG food. I was hearing one seminar the other day about customer experience. Like you cannot change the product, but if you want to keep your customers to your product, you have to do something else. So what you can do, it is only the product packaging that you can change, add something to your packaging. So definitely FMCG sector is growing and a lot of printers are going to get good jobs in like good business in coming feature. Like affordable luxury is something we also look forward to, right? So we don't want to buy from big mall. We'll just order from Amazon because it's affordable luxury. And rightly said, the sachet example is correctly said. Then again, more business, more products, more design, and more printing. Market is increasing and innovation will keep all the printers flourishing. So we have to look out for different opportunities from where we can get any business which will lead us in our own infrastructure that we have. And again, we all have to focus on the research. We'll have to keep on experimenting, and then of course learning the new things and keeping ourselves updated with the current trends. So thank you, Dharam sir, for giving us such a lovely examples of whatever Colgate or Ponds or that organic tea examples which you have showed. Those are really nice explanatory in itself, right? So thank you so much. So now I would like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Dr. Lalit Katpalia. He is a director at SSBY Consulting, President Society of Design Thinking Professionals, India chapter, and he's also a president of International Institute of Business Analysis, that is IIBA, Pune chapter. So Dr. Lalit is a growth-oriented management technology, design thinker, leadership, and educational professional with 33 years of experience, both in India and abroad in software development, program management, and project management over varied platforms and diverse software. Lalit has a proven track record of programs and project experience, client engagement, and leading organizations in accomplishing mission objectives. Lalit has a strong background in client engagement and account development, project management, software development, methodologies, technical knowledge, large-scale systems, applications, developments, and integration supported by excellent educational background, influencing and relationship building skills. He is an excellent communicator and negotiator, having managed various accounts for consulting companies in various positions. He started his career in the IT industry with Bennett, Coleman and Company Limited in Mumbai, and then worked in several companies including Infosys Technologies, Cambridge Technology Partners CTP, Larsen and Turbo Limited, HSBC Global Technology Center, and Computer Horizons. Before joining SKP Consulting, Lalit Katpalia was the director of Symbiosis Institute of Computer Studies and Research and delivering anchor of the banking unit, APAC of Infosys Technologies. Welcome, Dr. Lalit sir. Now I would like you to please take over the webinar.
Thank you, Shrikala. Thank you, Madhura, and thank you, AIFMP and PVG for inviting me. I'm actually overwhelmed a bit because Dharam gave such a fantastic presentation. I have to follow up with that, and he sort of set the tempo for this event, and we have Suhas following us. So I'm sort of a vada stuck between the pav of. So I'm like the vada pav of the vada of the vada pav, and I have a big responsibility. I'll try to do my best. Let me share my screen and. Actually the theme is disruptive innovation, design thinking, and digital transformation. I would like to add over here that my career began with the Times of India, Bombay. So, and I have been always having printers whom I have worked with. The only part is that, some of the things which I did there was pre-press. And I'll talk about that later, but my focus will be on disruptive innovation, design thinking. Dharam and Suhas are going to be covering up a lot, but I'll be talking about how disruptive innovation can be achieved using design thinking and digital transformation. And let's move forward. Shrikala has already exposed me about what I've done in the past, so I'm not going to talk about it. So my question here is that, rather than I start off, I want to ask people, what is disruptive innovation? We have a good amount of people over here. We have Govind sir, we have Kamal sir, we have the students, we have the faculty. Can someone tell me what is disruptive innovation? And I would like it to be an interactive session. So the question to all the participants, what is disruptive innovation? You can put it in your chat, and if Shrikala permits, they can also come on the audio.
Yeah, sir, they can unmute themselves and speak.
Yeah, can we have all the geniuses, the printers, also tell me what is disruptive innovation? I'm also a learner. I'm not an expert in printing. And don't worry, people who give me wrong answers will get a vada pav, and people who give me right answers will get a vada pav with chutney.
Is it to break away from the norm to do something other than what is status quo?
Very good. Govind sir says that it could be something to break away from the norm, to disrupt the status quo. Fantastic answer, Govind sir. I think you should take over the presentation. Fantastic.
No, sir.
Okay, Shrikala, I hope you're going to give Govind sir a vada pav with chutney.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay,
So,
anyone else?
Punit Rawat is saying that out-of-box thinking, which is scalable.
Very good, Puneet. Thank you very much. I would like to have more answers, but because of shortage of time, I will move forward. To make this a better presentation, would you like to understand disruptive innovation from the guru of disruptive innovation? Thank you, Aryan, for your answer. Innovation such that the change caused is irrepressible. Clayton Christensen is the guru of disruptive innovation, and at Harvard there is a course on disruptive innovation, and probably PVG and your management institute would also teach disruptive innovation. So I would show you a video explaining what is disruptive innovation, followed by the guru Clayton Christensen talking about disruptive innovation, and then we will take this forward. So here is a video which explains what is disruptive innovation from Harvard Business Review. Just give me 1 second.
Small young company beat an industry giant on its own turf through what Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen calls disruptive innovation. It works like this. Big players focus on sustaining innovation, upgrading existing products and services to attract higher paying customers. But soon, they start to ignore all the regular customers who just want simple, low-cost alternatives. That's where the entrepreneurial company jumps in with that basic offering. The big guys stay focused on more profitable customers and begin to overserve, adding bells and whistles no one wants to pay for. Meanwhile, the disruptor improves its product to appeal to more people. By the time the incumbent notices, the disruptor has already started to take over the market. The classic example is the steel mini mills, which first produced low-quality rebar, then moved to sheet steel, stealing business from the large mills that had been dominant. More recent disruptors include car makers like Toyota and Hyundai, which launched with economy models, then added luxury features and brands. The only way for industry giants to fight back is by launching their own disruptive innovations. To succeed, they must treat the project as a separate unit with a different business model and growth expectations. Ask, what job do customers need to get done? Segment customers by job, not by product, market size, or demographics. And develop basic, low-cost ways to get the job done. That's how Procter & Gamble came up with Crest White Strips, a cheap do-it-yourself alternative to an expensive dental service. Disruptive innovation creates new markets and reshapes existing ones. To achieve growth in a fast-changing world, you want to be a disruptor. Don't be disrupted.
So guys, what did you get from this video? This was just a trailer onto disruptive innovation. Can anyone tell me what he or she understood from this?
I think the video taught us the basic thing that a small timer can actually disrupt the existing player in the market, and how that is possible because of his any simple technique, any simple innovative technique by which is somehow has got missed out by that existing or an established player in the market, and somehow he's been able to pick up that small little thing and let that expand in his own way and penetrate into the requirements which the customers may probably need.
Very good. So I think Madhura ma'am deserves a PhD on disruptive innovation. Thank you very much. And thanks Suhas for that answer. I'm not going to read it out, but my expectation from this group, which is over here, all of you are printers, and my namaskars to you, because I'm not an expert in printing. But I want to tell you one thing, that I would love India to be one of the first ones to bring in disruptive innovation in printing. And if we can do that, I think God bless us. We are already leaders in technology in the IT industry, and I've been part of it with Infosys and other companies. And I would like this audience to, think about disruptive innovation. And I also want to tell you that if you believe that we in India can't do it, then I'm sorry to say I don't believe you, because India has been creating a lot of new technologies in terms of IT, and I will relate to it when we talk later. So I want printing to be on the forefront. When I was working with Times of India, one of the things which we did at that time was that we had we introduced desktop publishing, and at that time desktop publishing was something very new. This was way back in 1989. And we started using, Apple computers, and we used PageMaker for desktop publishing. And we didn't stop there. Nowhere do we have, Marathi newspapers, Hindi newspapers. We had Navbharat Times in Hindi. We had Maharashtra Times, and we used Devyani language, and we came up with desktop publishing systems. So to say that disruptive innovation didn't happen, it did happen. And when I was interviewed for Times of India by Sameer Jain sir, he told me that, Lalit, how can you use technology for printing? And one of the things which we did over there was also set up automatic message switching system, wherein news from all over India would come on that automatic message switching system. It would be edited and then sent to all the newspaper printing stations. Let's now get into another video. This is the guru, Clayton Christensen, who used to teach at Harvard, explaining to you disruptive innovation. And he'll be talking to you examples. He'll be talking to you about, all of you are aware that all the PCs and other things which we use processors from Intel. He was a consultant to Intel. He was a consultant to various other people. And using technology, now we'll be able to see this video. So let's get on to the next part of my presentation with another video.
Hello, I'm Des Dillon. Welcome to The Idea. My guest today is Professor Clayton Christensen.
Oh, thanks, Des.
What exactly is disruptive innovation? Explain it.
A disruptive innovation is not a breakthrough innovation that makes good products a lot better. But it has a very specific definition, and that is it transforms a product that historically was so expensive and complicated that only a few people with a lot of money and a lot of skill had access to it. A disruptive innovation makes it so much more affordable and accessible that a much larger population have access to it.
So give us an example of this. I mean, most people are familiar with the computer industry and how that's developed. Perhaps you can use that as an example.
Yeah, so at the beginning, the first manifestation of digital technology was a mainframe computer. It cost several $1 million to buy, and it took years to be trained to operate these things. And so that meant that the largest corporations and the largest universities could have one, And so we had to take our problem to the center where the experts solved it for us. But then there's a sequence of innovations from the mainframe to a mini, to a desktop, to a laptop, and now to a smartphone that has democratized technology to the point that everybody has access to it around the world. And we are much better off. It was very hard, though, for the pioneers of the industry to catch these new waves. Most of those were created and dominated by new companies.
And then you're touching on that gives rise to, this process gives rise to the innovator's dilemma, which was the title of your 1997 book.
Yeah, that's right.
But how do people get around that? I mean, that dilemma, can you explain the dilemma itself to us?
Yeah, so the dilemma is, in every company, every day, every year, people are going into senior management, knocking on the door saying, I got a new product for us. And some of those entail making better products that you could sell for higher prices to your best customers. A disruptive innovation generally has to cause you to go after new markets, people who aren't your customers. And the product that you want to sell them is something that is just so much more affordable and simple that your current customers can't buy it, you know. And so the choice that you have to make is, should we make better products that we could sell for better profits to our best customers? Or maybe we ought to make worse products that none of our customers would buy that would ruin our margins. What should we do? And that really is the dilemma. It was the dilemma that General Motors and Ford faced when they tried to decide, should we go down and compete against Toyota, who came in at the bottom? Or should we make even bigger SUVs for even bigger people? And now Toyota has the same problem. As the Koreans in Hyundai and Kia have really won the low end of the market from Toyota. And it's not because Toyota's asleep at the switch. But why would they ever invest to defend the lowest profit part of their market, which is the subcompacts, when they have the privilege of competing against Mercedes? You know, and then Chery is coming from China, doing the same thing to the Koreans.
So one of the things I really like about your ideas is that they really do have had an impact out there. I mean, some of this thinking has, without question, influenced a whole generation of managers, including people like Steve Jobs. You're referenced in the biography that he read the book and was very influenced by the book, and possibly Apple I and Apple II are, you know, him resolving the innovator's dilemma.
Yeah.
But also Andy Grove at Intel. You had a contact with him.
Yeah. It's I never imagined that I could ever meet these people, you know, let alone be judged as having helped them. But I learned a lot from Andy Grove. So what happened was, I was just at HBS minding my own business, and Andy Grove called me just out of the blue and said, look, I'm a busy man, I don't have time to read drivel from academics, you know, but somebody told me you had this theory, and I wondered if you could come out and present what you're learning to me and my staff, and then tell us how it applies to Intel. And for me, it was a chance of a lifetime. So I flew out there, and turned out he's quite a gruff man, and he said, you know, stuff's happened to us. We only have 10 minutes for you. So just tell us what it means for Intel. And I said, Andy, I can't, because I have no opinion about Intel, but the theory has an opinion. And so I have to describe the theory. So he sat back impatiently, and 10 minutes into it, he chopped me off and he said, look, I got your stupid theory. Tell us what it means for Intel. And he got what he got, and he really did get it, you know. And I said, Andy, I need 5 more minutes, because I got to describe how this process of disruption worked its way through a totally different industry, just so you can visualize what can happen to Intel. So I described how the mini mills came in to the steel market at rebar and then went up market. And when I was done with that, Grove said, oh, I get it. So what you're telling me it means for Intel is, and he described how they had 2 companies coming at them from below, and Intel needs to go down and not let them go up against us. It was very successful.
And so, that was the Celeron processor.
Yeah, that's right. And I've thought about this. If I'd have been suckered into telling Andy Grove what he should do, I'd have been killed, because he knew so much more about microprocessors than I ever would know. But rather than telling him what to think, I taught him how to think. And he could reach his own conclusions. And that changed the way I teach. It changed the way I talk. And the insight is that, you know, for whatever reason, the way they designed the world, data is only available about the past. And when we teach people that they should be data-driven and fact-based and analytical as they look into the future, in many ways we condemn them to take action when the game is over. The only way you can look into the future, there's no data, so you have to have a good theory. And we don't think about it, but every time we're taking an action, it's predicated upon a theory. And so by teaching managers to look through the lens of a theory into the future, you can actually see the future very clearly. And I think that's what the theory of disruption has done.
Clay Christensen, thank you very much for talking to us.
Oh, thanks for taking the time to ask such great questions.
So one of the things which struck me is the fact that if you listen to this video carefully, he talks about how we can use the theory of disruption to look into the future. And I think with the audience here today, I will try and explain disruptive innovation. And of course, I can't beat the founder, Clayton Christensen, about it. But definitely, this is an epoch moment. This webinar is an epoch moment organized by AIFMP and the other PVG and other folks to get all of you to use disruptive innovation as the way to look forward into the future. Now, let me get on to my presentation. So we talked about what is disruptive innovation. So one of the things which I want all of you to think about is that history shows we are resistant to change. This is the British guy saying the Americans have a need for telephone, but we do not. We have plenty of message boys. This is the British Post Office during the times of the telegram and the telegraph coming in. And now you all have a mobile phone. This is another one. Airplanes are interesting toys, but of no military value. So, and now we all travel. We all know about airplanes. And Thomas Watson, the president of IBM, said that I think there is a world market for maybe 5 computers. And that was the time they spoke only about mainframes. And this is what a computer looked like. So disruptive innovation, the term was first introduced by Clayton Christensen in his book, The Innovator's Dilemma. And Clayton is a professor at Harvard Business School. We just discussed this. So what are the various types of innovation? We need to understand the first one is disruptive innovation, which represents a new product or service that enters at the low end of the market and gradually moves up market, displacing existing established products. So you have a new product which sort of gets over and creates a new market or a new service. And this change driving this disruption may itself be a minor or incremental technology innovation. For all of you who are wondering there that, if we have to be technically smart, we have to have new technology. No, disruptive innovation can be achieved by anyone. I would like to ask all of you, you saw the video, you saw the explanation by Clayton Christensen. Can any one of you tell me in India, a company which has achieved disruptive innovation? Anyone? Because I think the Indian market should be the one which we talk about. For lack of time, how many of you know about the Jio? What did Jio do, guys? The Reliance product Jio, what has that done? Can I get answers from anyone? Sorry, I have answers on chat. Oh, Krishna also said Jio and Uber. Okay, Uber, I will talk about it later, but Jio definitely, Krishna sir, is an example of disruptive innovation, and we'll cover that later on. Besides that, the other types of innovation are radical innovation, which represents a major technological breakthrough. Discontinuous innovation, which is new technology applied to solve an existing need or new way. You don't have to remember all this. Let's just focus on disruptive innovation today. And the next one is breakthrough innovation, which is an out-of-the-blue solution that cannot be compared to an existing solution. Out of this, the most important for me is disruptive innovation, because that's where we will be talking about design thinking. And this is another way to describe disruptive innovation. You know, these are the various ends of the market. These are the high end of the market, the low end of the market, the mainstream market, and this is something which we call as sustaining innovation. Every one of us does sustaining innovation. That means we keep on building up, you know, small changes or small newer things. And okay, Aryan, I got your answer. Online booking system for IRCTC. Thank you. Whether it's a disruptive innovation, we'll talk about it. So here on this, we have the product performance, and this is a period of time. And the incumbent or the sustaining innovation guy is this guy, whereas the disruptive innovation entrant is the one who follows this trajectory. How he does it, we'll talk about it. So now let me give you an example. So this is the phone example. You know, the incumbent guy is the Airtels and the Ideas of the world who were moving from analog to digital, caller ID, digital to optical. This is the trajectory they were following. Do you guys relate to this? Do you all feel that Airtel and others were and Ideas were going from analog to digital to caller ID, digital to optical? Do you see this? And then comes a guy who has voice over IP, or he uses the internet for calling. Who is this guy who uses voice over IP and says that I won't charge you for your mobile calls? You can call unlimited, you can send unlimited SMSs, and you will only be charged for data. And that's right, Krishna sir says it is the Geo guy. So this is an example of disruptive innovation, and this is how someone comes and grabs the whole market. And we all know how Geo sort of gave a tough time to Idea and Airtel and BSNL. All these folks were, you know, sort of disturbed, and that's an example of disruptive innovation. Now, the best example I could give you of disruptive innovation is the Gutenberg press. Can someone tell me about this? You all are printers. Can someone tell me, wasn't this disruptive innovation? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, very much.
Do you all relate to this? Now, everyone in the audience, do you relate to this? The printing press changed everything. And that is the best example I could give of, you know, disruptive innovation. When I was told to make this presentation by Madhura and the folks at PVG and AIFMP, I was shocked as to how do I bring in an example of disruptive innovation to the printing industry. And this is the best example. I'm not going through this example, but I hope all of you can relate to this. Maybe Kamal sir can also relate to this, and you know, other people also. The other example is the analog radio, which had high quality sound. I mean, this was based on tubes and walls. And then came the transistor radio, which this particular picture, this is the old form of the radio. And then transistor radios was adopted by teenagers who could bring music to the beach, and this transistor radio replaced the analog. Nowadays, you have FM radio on your mobile phone. The cathode ray TV, earlier TVs were like this. Then you got the LCD TVs, and the LCD screen was first used in mobile phones. But since the image was good, it was displaced by the cathode ray. I mean, it displaced the cathode ray TV. I mean, now all of you have LED TVs. The other example is Blockbuster Video, wherein, you know, you had video cassettes available on rent, and you now have Netflix. That is another example of disruptive innovation. And the recent one is Kodak to Canon. Can anyone tell me how Canon killed Kodak, or how disruptive innovation was something which Kodak didn't catch on? Anyone wants to tell me? Why do you think Kodak is an example of the digital camera? Very good, Ayan. So Ayan is right. Kodak was a leader on the film industry, and you know, then even though they were the first ones to build up the digital camera, they didn't follow that path. And then came Canon, Nikon, and now the mobile phones have camera. So this is another example of disruptive innovation. So these are all innovations are disruptive is something which we all feel about. So the first automobiles, when they came, they were not disruptive innovation, but the mass produced automobile was a disruptive innovation, like Ford and other people. Ford came up with the mass production, and I think someone mentioned Uber. Uber is clearly transforming the taxi business, but it is not disrupting the taxi business. So Uber is not an example of disruptive innovation. Tesla started at the top end of the market, and now with the Model 3 is offering an affordable electric car to mainstream customers. So this is an example of a disruptive innovation. So in result, disruptive innovations are not advanced technologies. If any one of you thinks that disruptive innovations is advanced technology, no. They're often novel combination of existing over-the-shelf components applied clearly to a small fledgling value network. Now, this is an example over here to tell you that if all of you think that if we are in printing, we need new advanced technologies to be disruptive, no. You can use over-the-shelf components and apply it clearly to bring in a value network. And the business model that the technology enables is what creates the disruptive impact. So basically, it's your business model. So all of you have existing clients. You need to you have to see what you want to teach in the business model to have a disruptive impact. This is an example of the red versus blue ocean. The red ocean, I'll give you an analogy. The red ocean is a metaphor of blood in the water, the sharks killing people, various other folks. And these are very competitive and populated by sharks fighting over the same customers. So for the same customer, a lot of you are fighting. Whereas the blue ocean metaphor talks about the deep ocean waters that are far from the land. Now, how do we relate this metaphor? Is that sustainable innovation focuses on red ocean strategies. That means known market states, competitive rules, and industry boundaries. Whereas disruptive innovation focuses on the blue ocean, which is market space does not exist. For example, in the geo case, the internet was not available to many people. And when geo came in, they focused on providing access to the internet to everyone. And that's the blue space. I'm going to run through these slides because of lack of time, but this is what I want to tell you. What do you have to do? When you spot disruptive innovation opportunities, embrace them. When you see that you can bring in disruptive innovation, embrace them. Set up an autonomous organization tasked with building an independent business around the disruptive innovation. What you have to do is that you have to have small teams working to build a piece around your current business to bring in disruptive innovation. And how do you do that? Your current business can focus on sustainable innovation, but you can have a small group working on managing radical and disruptive innovation. And the most important part is that you have to use design thinking. If you look at Apple, if you look at various companies who are bringing in disruptive innovation, they use design thinking, which Suhas and Dharam has already spoken about, and Suhas will be talking to you. And the next part is digital transformation. Digital transformation, what I mean to say is that you all need to look at the internet to bring in customers. You all need to look at the internet to bring in new channels for your business. And that is how you will bring in disruptive innovation. So this is what is, in short, my presentation about. Many of us aren't good in embracing change as we think we are. Sustaining innovation opens the ways to disruptive innovation. I mean, we can keep on, talking about sustaining innovation, but we have to go to disruptive innovation. And, the best ideas are stupid ideas. People dismiss this as choice. They challenge the social norm. They unbundle functions done by others. So this is my presentation and my small talk on disruptive innovation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lalit. I think that was a wonderful presentation. I think what he has been trying to tell us is that growth is possible, and to achieve growth, let's try to be be a disruptor rather than be disruptive. So rather than a disruptor, be a disruptive. And it can be possible with a simple low cost alternative. So as printers too, if we try to look out for solutions, we can come up with some simple low cost alternatives in the business. And of course, using technology to meet customer requirements is possible, especially today in times where technology is at our disposal. It was very wonderful to listen to Clayton Christensen's theory, which says that democratized technology is to be used by many and not just a few. I think that's something which we all know that when you share things and make it available to people is more easier and accessible to all. And of course, theory of disruption is a way to look forward. Of course, Dr. Lalit gave us different types of disruption, because then that helps us to understand, which type of theory is to be used in, what type of process. And of course, it need not be disruptive innovation, need not be a totally new idea. It can be something come up from an existing technology along with something new about it. The best part is, of course, embrace a disruptive innovation opportunity in case it comes to you. And then, of course, accept that change, embrace that change, and have as Mr. Dharam also emphasized, and Dr. Lalit also kind of mentioned the same point, that I try to have this kind of department which helps you to focus on innovation. So an R&D department, a department who will focus on such innovation or innovativeness will definitely help you to look forward. Thank you, Dr. Lalit. I think it was a very interesting session. You have made it interesting by your interaction also. Thank you so much. We move on with our next speaker, that is our very own Suhas Kulkarni. The reason our very own is because he is from an alumni of PVG. Suhas is the managing director at DKSH Technology, Indonesia and India, and the general manager BD PPC Asia Pacific. He has completed his bachelor's of printing from University of Pune, and also completed his business education from IIM Ahmedabad. He has completed many assignments. He started his first job, I think, with UV metallizers, and then moved on to core tools packaging, then DuPont packaging, Kodak Graphic Communications, Windmoller and Holshut India as a managing director there. Then moved up to as regional director at Solenis Chemicals, and then now at DKSH Asia Pacific Head. His expertise is in flexographic printing, flexible packaging, color management, and digital printing, and of course has been certified with many certifications, out of which he is a certified EDIC coach, certified sales assessment, then a sales assessment competency coach, Gallup certified strengths coach, and certified master practitioner design thinking. So with this background, especially in design thinking, I think we all would be very eager to learn more about this. And over to you, Suhas.
Thank you, Madhura. And thank you, everyone. I know it's getting closer to people looking forward to vada pav, and the vada has been consumed, and the last piece of the vada pav is here. So I'm happy to be a part of this vada pav, but it's a part of this which is I enjoy, something that I enjoy, and something that I would really love to talk about. So I'm not going to take much time on going through the theory, because we want to talk about innovation in design thinking, and I think you've already seen the process of design thinking, which is very well shared by Dharam and also by Lalit. I think when you look at innovation, what is innovation? And great design is innovation, and this caption sums it up very well. And where you innovate and how you innovate and what you innovate are design problems in the end. And what is actually innovation is basically design, right? So when people talk about innovation, they really actually mean design. And this is what is what is the truth. These are the steps in design thinking, but most of the time we are looking at design thinking as a linear process. And we know that it cannot be really a linear process. It's basically a very circular process, right? You go through, you might have to admit somebody here, Mahesh. Okay. So the design thinking is really a very circular process, and it gravitates between inspiration and ideation and also implementation. So we want to talk today a little bit more about ideation and implementation because in the end, I come from the industry. I've been in the printing and packaging industry and other industries as well. And the most important thing that we see in the industry is the movement from ideation to implementation, which also sometimes we use the word as execution, right? So that's another thing. So in ideation, when we talk about design thinking, the most important thing is innovation, right? I mean, and when you look out innovation, is invention, innovation, and creativity, are they all the same or are they really different? And this is something that, it's also food for thought for us. This was the slide that Dharam also showed, and it's a very, very important slide, and it's also very close to me. And that's why I thought I will share this again with you, because it really talks about the key elements. And I think Dharam touched very well on the functional innovation and process innovation, right, including the emotional innovation. Fantastic example. But what I want to do is also talk about how do we really ideate, yeah? And before we go there, I just wanted to share an excellent example with you because I wanted to make sure that we bring home the point of ideation and innovation with an example. And this is a real life example where, and this story goes back to the people in the printing industry. And this is from a very own homegrown offset printing industry where people had set up offset printing presses, which are called commercial printers, and who would lease out their press on a job level. And you would have people who would come and give jobs to them. There used to be a role in the Mumbai printing industry or in the Maharashtra industry, which was called as a canvasser, right? A person would come and give a job and he would take the job and get this done. So people would set up offset printing presses. So here was one example where this is a very hard working, focused person who set up this. And these were two brothers in Mumbai who set up this unit, and these units, as you know, in the Mumbai terms, is called gala, right? So they had a gala, and then that's how they grew, and they worked really hard to make sure that they succeed. And then, of course, came the competition, and then, of course, came the unbearable price increase in paper and inks and so on. And the business was, of course, also hit. But how to turn around this was very brilliant because one of the brothers' son, I have to admit somebody here. So one of the brothers' son actually came back from studying abroad and looked at the family business and said, how can we use the current resources that we have and to make it more reachable. The important thing here was using the available resources, reaching out to customers because they were never used to reaching out to customers, and creating an app because they didn't have sales force, and to get sales in, to a commercial printer was something which was not easy, and something which is easily usable. So the example here that I want to talk about is this beautiful example called um, Ludifu, which is Ludifu. So I just want to share again a small video which will show you the success of this beautiful venture, and how a simple app using your mobile phone was able to download your pictures and make this into a coffee table book using your existing printing capability, right? So because most of us now are taking pictures, but to turn this picture into reality was something which is to be seen. So just wanted to share a small video here, and so this is the coffee book which was
Pictures
made.
connect us with our past and instantly takes us back to our old cherished memories. Let us do it for you. Help me store some of the most precious moments of my life in a coffee table book, which has the perfect thickness and quality. I'm amazed at the clarity and sharpness of the pictures as I took them from my phone, and yet they have come out to be very good. All you need to do is WhatsApp them, add their mobile number, or contact them on Instagram. Send in your pictures and relax. They send you the layout for approval before printing and can customize the album according to your liking, and can also add your favorite quotes. Yes, it's that easy.
Mostly I took the pictures from my phone, and I'm thrilled to see the quality. It has turned out to be so good. I was just flipping through the pages, and when I saw the whole thing all together, the layout, everything was just perfect. The first time Nishika and Mahira saw the book, they were so excited. They just couldn't contain themselves. They ran to their daddy and showed her everything they did in Australia. They relived those moments with her.
Yeah, so just want to stop here because of paucity of time. I think you got the flair of it. This app is called Ludifu, and it was a brilliant, innovative idea to use a current resource and make that into a business opportunity, right? What I want to also share, I'm happy this young man who joined his father's business. He's actually joined this call today. And I just reached out to him this evening to let him know that we're going to share this success story. So he's here today in the call, and his name is Puneet Rawat. So Puneet, do you want to share something about this quickly?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me on this session and inviting me to speak. Absolutely delighted to see. Actually, I apologize, but I don't have a video camera to my desktop computer. Otherwise, I would have just going to deny that. So, such a pleasant experience to see my own video being presented by someone. It's a different feeling when someone else shows it as compared to when you play it for others. So thank you very much for that. Really nice of you to do that. And yes, it was a wonderful journey. Many challenges in the beginning, but I have never seen challenges as they are, because the family I come from is very practical. It's either a yes or a no. So if it's got to be done, it's got to be done, and no looking back. So that's the way it is. And I have had 7 successful failures, as I rightly put it. I've gone through many startups.
Okay.
So different experiences. Thank you very much. If
Thanks,
you would
Puneet.
like.
And just for the knowledge of the AIFMP team here, Puneet is the son of Arvind Rawat, who owns a printing company in A to Z, right? Or Shah and Nar.
Shah and Nar, yes.
Shah and Nar in Mumbai, right? So he comes from a very much he comes from the offset printing industry, and how he used the commercial printing industry to, create disruptive innovation. So thanks, Puneet. And thanks for joining this. It's good to have you and learn from young people. And
thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. So with that, I would like to just go back to ideation, and we looked at this example. I think the other important thing when you look at ideas is you don't judge ideas, and I think Lalit touched upon this very well. I think there are no bad ideas. Any ideas are welcome, but don't judge them immediately and say, yeah, this is a great idea or this is a not so great idea, right? And also sometimes there are very wild ideas, but encourage them and use them because you might actually develop something out of it, right? And it's also sometimes very good. I mean, Tom Peters in his book has written also In Search of Excellence, which is one of the first books in management I'd read. He actually says about building upon the ideas of others, because the people who build on ideas of others are the champions, right? He talks about champions and the ideas of excellence. So my second example I want to come to is not paper boat, not this, but this was a good example where somebody came out and said, how can we capture our native juice that we drink at home and it's not available elsewhere? And this was something that was there, and the thought went through, and then this grew very well. And the caption was that you could have it 30,000 feet in the air, sitting on a flight, and this was how they launched it through Indigo, right? But I'm not going to talk about this right now. What I'm going to talk about is in the present situation, which was the last year and a half during the pandemic. One of the things that comes to our mind is, our homegrown sweets. And in Pune, again, I'm talking about Pune because I did my engineering there, and I have a lot of memories to share from Pune and very close to my heart. It's something very unique to Pune, is something called Shikhandavadi, because you've all heard of Shrikhand, which is very well popularized by Amul and Chitales. But a Shikhandavadi is very unique to Pune. And people who are traveling outside Pune, sometimes they always feel that when I get back to Pune, or when I'm coming back, I will always have this Shikhandavadi. But what happens during pandemic? You cannot have this, right? Because you're not able to travel, you're not able to get it 30,000 feet in the air, and you are not able to even go to that small shop where you are able to buy this small piece of Shikhandavadi. So what happened during pandemic was the supply chain was localized. This was the biggest lesson that we learned, right? And also the runs became very shorter. You had the big players like the Lays and the PepsiCos and Cokes, etc. But what we found was, because of supply chain issues and trucks could not cross the borders, the production runs became smaller, and the converters, especially printers and packaging converters, had to rely on somebody who was able to supply them locally. Out of this grew a brilliant business idea saying, how can we supply local niche market products and move this from a simple polypack or a simple handmade dished out item to something which is smartly packed in small pouches, and then even ship it through courier, because in pandemic people are not able to meet or even go to shops sometimes, right? So this business idea came up, and I'm not talking about this particular product, but I'm talking about the idea where we've seen successful business enterprises setting up small shops with pouch making machines, and even going for very short runs, making 5,000 pouches or even 10,000 pouches. Today, these people who did not come from the printing and packaging industry, they came from the sweets industry. They are looking at investing in a digital press. Why? Because it can go for short runs. Something which is very unique, all right? And also you can also have increased requirement in terms of variation. So this is another example. The other example I want to talk about in design thinking is after ideation comes this stage of prototyping where you want to go back and make a prototype and again come back to ideation if it's not working. And one of the things that we saw today especially in the printing and packaging industry, I'm more focused on the packaging because that's where I work and I've spent most of my time in. If you look at 3D prototyping, right, something which was not there at all. Kamalji spoke about prototyping, people taking these prototypes and mock-ups, right? And then there were industries in the last 10 years who started making a business out of making mock-ups. Today, a marketing brand manager, like Dharam said exactly, doesn't want to make a mock-up and spend time and getting it in front of his conference room because there is actually nobody in the conference room because it's pandemic time, nobody's there. But everybody is in front of the screen, and what he or she can really see is the actual product on a screen. So 3D prototyping today has become something which is talk of the day. People, I know a real case example, I will not take a name, people who invested in this kind of a system, they were just sitting and they were not able to use it for the last 5 years, right? And suddenly in the last 1 year, they see that they are able to use it and generate a better business and use it to also convince customer how will the design look, how will the print look, how will the packaging look, even before going for actual production. And these are not just people in the design industry or in the pre-media industry, but these are people in the pre-press industry as well. And they are using it very well today. And they're sharing this 3D prototyping with packaging converters who are approving this online. Another, I wouldn't say disruptive, but I would say very innovative idea to use something that you already have, right? That's more important. So I think this was basically what I wanted to share, and to encapsulate the whole thing about ideation is go for volume, go for more ideas, be visual, and build on the ideas of others, encourage wild ideas. And while we are there, it's always good, to name your ideas and give your idea a name, and it can be any name that you want. And like long time back, about 21 years back, when the Chota Pepsi was born, it was named Chota Pepsi because that's what they said. So they gave that idea Chota Pepsi because the Pepsi was supposed to beat the chai, and they wanted to brand it so that it could be available at 5 rupees for everyone. So it was called a Chota Pepsi. So things like that. So also look at who is it for and what is the solution and why do people need it. And this is very important for us for ideation, right? So just sharing some of that. Happy to share this. Lalit and myself are very much a part of this SDTP, which is a Society of Design Thinking Professionals, and that's where we did a lot of training under. I'm happy to share these slides through this forum, and again happy to be a part of this forum. Fantastic way of sharing design thinking and innovative and disruptive innovation. While we are in the printing and packaging industry, it is my job as an execution person to make sure that we execute the ideas and not just keep them ideas, right? So implementation is very important as we go. So with that, I would like to close this small sharing of examples and really thank AIFMP and Kamalji, and also thank Lalit for picking up the call even in just 5 minutes. He agreed to come on board, and thank you Dharam also for that call, and thank you Madhura for creating this fantastic platform. And of course, this is my alma mater, so I owe this all back to the college, and very close to my heart, and I'm always very emotionally attached as well to this. So thank you very much and have a good evening. Really thank AIFMP and Kamalji, and also thank Lalit for picking up the call even in just 5 minutes. He agreed to come on board, and thank you Dharam also for that call, and thank you Madhura for creating this fantastic platform. And of course, this is my alma mater, so I owe this all back to the college, and very close to my heart, and I'm always very emotionally attached as well to this. So thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you, Suhas, for that wonderful presentation. A small summary of what you have said in your presentation. I think you have rightly said that design thinking is not just linear process, but it is a circular process, and you have to go back to your previous step and then again come to your next step and then verify each and every step as you move ahead. So I think that was a really good thought. Thank you for sharing the example of Beautiful. I think that what the organization has done is they are creating memories for a lifetime, and I mean the expression of the customer who has held that book, that photographed book or memoir in her hand, that itself speaks so much about printing. So that tangible that we get from a printed product is of course not possible from a 2D virtual digital platform. So thank you, Mr. Puneet Rawat, for joining us in this session. I think it was a pleasure having you here. Also, moving ahead with what Suha said, that encourage ideas. I think that's very important. Maximize an opportunity. So whichever opportunities that you feel are good, make sure that you make the most of it. Focus on the niche market, and the example that he has used, that is Athavles. Athavles is I think a brand from Pune itself, and they have literally catered to the food industry, or the food products which are really very close to the heart of Puneites, to the Punikars. So so when you go to any shop and when you see a specific delicacy, a Maharashtrian delicacy, so you definitely would like to pick it up and use it. So and it's unbelievable when their products were available in a different at stores, and now today they have their own single story or a two-story mall, which Athavles has, I think, probably developed over the last decade or so. So I think that was an excellent example which at least Punekars could relate to. So focus on the niche market, that's very important. 3D prototyping, that's a new idea that has come up and that can help. I mean, that we have discussed this even in our first session where Mr. Sunil Savan sir also explained about this concept, that where you can simulate your products and show it to your customers. And of course, name your idea, that's very important. So it is close to your heart, and then you can always, when something is close to your heart, it always helps to nurture it and then grow it. So thank you, Suhas, for making it very simple and for the audience to understand the process of design.
Yes. So now we come to the last part of the webinar, that is concluding remarks and vote of thanks. So for that, I would like to invite Mr. Tirtharaj Joshi. He has joint secretary of AIFMP and secretary of Pune Press Owners Association. He is into this printing and binding business from last 24 years. And from last 15 years, he has started his own Sri Krishna Art, a printing press in Pune. So Joshi sir, over to you. Please give your vote of thanks and concluding remarks for today.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to share video clip. These cup and saucer sets have won the Guinness Book of World Records award for beautification. Lots of physics and optics is involved in designing the illusions. So this session is for designing thinking, grow and innovative culture. So I selected this video for this session today. Thanks to the President AIFMP, Professor Mr. Kamal Chopraji for his continuous efforts for the Federation and printing industry. By arranging such type of webinars, he always wants to keep himself and all others too busy sharing knowledge in between us. You all will agree with me, the presentation in the market is very worst. It's very difficult to survive in the industry. But by keeping high morale and big positive mindset, learning new things, techniques, by adopting new technologies, thinking out of box, doing some value addition in our services or products, we can survive. Today's topic is thinking, design thinking, grow an innovative culture. What we saw in the clip few minutes before by all the speakers, designing and printing, packaging go hand in hand. A good design with proper printing and binding or packing looks more beautiful, attractive. If anyone process fails to perform, the product will not be appreciated in the market and vice versa. It's a very serious and important topic. We have to fix it in mind. But unfortunately, nowadays, no one is looking into this deeply, neither printer, designer, nor the customer. Everyone in this cutthroat competition wants to sell the product in very low price, adjusting the quality of design and material used for processing, which is not a good sign. We have to convince our customer about the quality. They should consider the value of design and print. Our all webinars are designed by Kamal sir and team with proper thinking with the help of all enthusiastic and knowledgeable professors from various institutes like yesterday's Avinash Lingam University and today's PVG College, my college from Pune. Webinars are properly organized, keeping the concept in mind that we have to share knowledge, ideas, solutions, different techniques, and answers to each and every question of small and big printers in the industries. With the help of learned and experienced speakers in the industry, printers, students gets more and more information and the way to act and get ready for the future. AIFMP covered so many topics like prediction of print on demand, packaging development, value addition, AR in print, color management, and so on. Once again, thanks to Mr. Kamalji. I would like to thank our today's chief guest, Mr. Govind Bhargava, past president of AIFMP, for giving their valuable time and inputs to our industry. Our today's speakers, Mr. Suhas Kulkarni, Dr. Lalit, and Mr. Dharam. Thanks to all of you for giving useful information and knowledge about the concepts, innovative designs, and their various aspects. All the presentations are going to help many of our printer brothers in their business. Thank you all once again. I would like to thank our HGS AIFMP Vishwakumarji for his support to all these webinars. I would like to thanks to all OBs of AIFMP for their kind support. I thanks to all the members of AIFMP, designers, printers, industrialists, especially students who are going to enter in this world of printing. Webinars are giving more information for them. Thanks to all other teachers, faculties, and last but not the least, I would like to thank well-known personality, our today's moderator, Professor Madhura Mahajan, Madam, HOD of PVG, and Program Coordinator, Shrikala Kannade, Madam, Faculty of PVG, for moderating and coordinating this webinar event without any disturbance and in a very professional way. Thanks you both. Thanks to all of you. Take care. Be safe. Good night.
Thank you, Joshi sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, AIFMP. And thank you all, to all the speakers who have actually shared so much of information and knowledge. I'm sure it's going to be very useful to the press owners and printers of AIFMP.
Thank you very much. Thank you all the speakers. We are really a feeling of life. Another thing, we are trying to, as I told earlier, we are trying to educate the printers because due to pandemic and this lockdown, there's a great suffering. Not only pandemic, but there's another fact, due to digitization, the scope of printing is decreasing day by day. So So how to survive? There are ways. Printing will never die. Printing will remain always. But we have to change ourselves. That's how we are educating the printers. That's what that education we wish to give to the students also. Possibilities are there. So thank you very much. Thank you all the speakers, and special thanks to Madam, both the madams, Shrikala and Madhura ma'am. They are doing hard labor. This is all they have done. We came there and attended it. Everything. Thank you very much.
Yeah.